Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Friday, April 23rd, 2021. And here are our top stories. At what age should you stop saving for retirement? And we'll take a look at healthcare jobs on the rise. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Carrie Hannon. She's a personal finance expert, author, and columnist. Carrie, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I always love being here with you.
Well, Carrie, I want to start with, the name of the article was, when should we stop saving for retirement? And, being close to retirement myself within the next 20 years, this kind of piques my interest. So when should we stop saving?
I know it's tricky because it used to be, you could sort of suss out what might be the appropriate time. But my husband and I, it really made us start thinking about it this year because, he's over 65 and we thought, well, what is the right time? But here's the thing. Yes, you do have to have if you're in the IRAs or those sort of retirement tax deferred ones, there's going to be a time where you have to start pulling that money out. It's been pushed back a bit, certainly to 72, I think now. But here's what you need to remember is longevity. We're living longer, presumably healthier lives. So you need to be thinking, I'm planning to live to maybe 100. So why not keep putting money in? You could have at 60 another 20 years, that you might be thinking of at least trying to put some aside, or at least 10 years or more that you need to put something aside for your retirement accounts, because you defer the taxes, you allow it to continue to compound, and it's a really nice vehicle. So just think longer term these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say that I know you just got a brand new puppy, and he or she is in their crate. So we love pets. We need, actually, I was thinking we have to do a show on pets and how the importance that they play as we age, because I think they play a really important role. But back to this really great topic. Let's talk about women, because a lot of people were set back during the pandemic. Lower retirement accounts. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they were getting some support from the federal or state government in terms of unemployment. But women in particular may be set back even further because of having to take care of children or family or husbands or wives or whatever. What's the impact here for women?
Jeff, here's the thing. Women outlive longer than men in general. I mean, this is changing a little bit, but women tend to have been out of the workforce. They've earned less money. Over time, they have accumulated, many women, less money than their male counterparts. So you have to be extra aggressive about saving for retirement. And as we get older, you need to continue, that you can do the bump up extra here, but it's really buckle down because we have no idea what our medical costs might be as we age. There's all kinds of crystal balling we can't do. But for women in particular, a lot of the family finances often women tend to, if they're married, tend to marry male spouses who would be older than them. It just has way. So a lot of the finances often go to paying that spouse's medical bills. So you're really left in a lurch. So it's really important. So many women become widows and near the poverty line. And Cindy Hansel at Wiser is a wonderful source on that. I know you've talked to her before. It's really imperative that women really pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you really need. You got to be. Look, you can be part of a partnership. Get married or not get married. That's certainly up to you. But I think maintaining financial independence needs to be at the very top. You want to have a great relationship with somebody, but you got to figure out what your steps are. I think reliance is kind of passé, right? So being able to plan for today and, have an estate plan, be able to figure out what you're going to do, if you either separate or should you separate because of natural causes?
Yeah, I mean, money is power, money is control, money is confidence. And so these are things, women, we can do this. It's not saying you love anyone any less if you're in a partnership. It's just simply, I'm taking care of me and I know I may have longevity and I'm going to, take control of what I can.
Yeah. And Carrie, I assume that before the pandemic, as I mentioned at the top of the segment, you were doing a lot of visitations and workshops. And I presume that has continued, but virtually. Are you hearing anything from women during those workshops, either anecdotally through comments they're making or actually statistically, that shows that, they're kind of really embracing this idea of empowerment, financial empowerment, and gaining financial independence?
I think women are starting to. I don't see it the way I want to see it. I think younger women are somewhat better than women in my age cohort over 50. But it is starting to change. But there is still this sort of Scarlett O'Hara mentality. I'll think about it tomorrow. Talking about money is taboo. All these sorts of cultural, deep-seated feelings about money that cause a lot of conflict for women. And they still will say things like, "Oh, it bores me," or "I'm not good at math." And come on, we know better than that. It's simply they're not comfortable with the language. And that's why I think you and I have talked about the importance of really teaching personal finance at younger ages in the schools and so forth.
Yeah, well, I love that you bring up Scarlett O'Hara. For those who are not familiar with that character from Gone with the Wind, a great movie. I think it's like 4 hours long, but it's a great movie. But you're right, people really need to kind of, just in general. I mean, the way I approach this, whether you're however you identify as a woman, a man, whatever, being empowered and being financially independent, they go hand in hand. I think everybody should be striving for that. I guess, yes, finance can be a little dry. We're trying to make it a little bit more exciting. I know on the network, I know you do the same. You're not just sitting there and lecturing and, on a whiteboard or a virtual board. But, this is important stuff. This is like going to the doctor. This is like getting a routine physical, having your ears and hearing tested, right? I mean, this is really the lifeblood of the human existence.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable, and just step up to the plate. I mean, you've got to do it. I'm sorry about the puppy. I really am. I'm going to bring her in for the next segment.
Okay, well, that's fine. Well, Carrie, you go do that. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, there are some healthcare jobs that we're going to talk about. What are the best healthcare jobs? You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to Carrie Hannon. She's author, personal finance expert, and columnist. And she's joined by her new puppy, Ellie, who we heard in the previous segment. Ellie, welcome to the program. Carrie, thanks for staying with us this morning.
Sorry, everybody.
No, absolutely. Look, I was joking before with you, we've had children, cats, dogs walk across the screen. This is great. And you know what? People, cats and dogs and pets, they're wonderful. They're great companions, and they make our lives so much better, both pre-retirement and post-retirement, Carrie.
No kidding. She's already teaching me to get back down on the floor and play.
There you go. Well, congratulations to you. And
Thanks.
Ellie, if you have anything you want to say, we're happy to listen. We can talk about pre-retirement for canines at your leisure. So let's talk about, what I really like about, you are so diverse in what you talk about, Carrie. It's not just saving, it's not just retirement, but here in this piece, I think you wrote for the New York Times, if I'm not mistaken, you talk about some healthcare jobs on the rise. And what's interesting is, you mentioned we're living longer, really important to take care of yourself. How do you see this impacting healthcare jobs?
Yeah, Jeff, this is amazing. I mean, when you looked at what the Bureau of Labor Statistics has, drawn out, it's a great resource, the Occupational Handbook. I encourage people to take a look at it, but they track what are the fastest growing industries and professions, and healthcare services is top of the charts, as you can imagine. And with the aging population, these jobs, there are going to be new ones being created all the times that we may never, we don't know about today, but are in this arena because health and wellness are going to be huge parts of our economy as we move forward with, and it's a global aging. It's not just in the United States, of course. And so for the New York Times, I took a look at 5 great healthcare jobs that are on the rise, and I picked some of the very top ones that they mentioned, but there are many, many others. And it's just worth taking a look at. They often take more training, going back for some certificates, some education, but well worth it. They tend to pay well.
Yeah, and I think this is, in terms of opportunity. So number one, things like caregiving. Maybe there's things like there's physical therapy or things that help you maintain your flexibility. I mean, we can go in so many different directions and permutations on this, but I would think, Carrie, that these could be opportunities also for middle-aged and older Americans as well in their second or third life, right? Once they hit retirement, maybe they go back and be a volunteer. Maybe they go back and actually work part-time in one of these jobs.
Yeah, these can be terrific second act jobs as well. And often we talk about second acts, Jeff, you and I, and at 50, you can easily have another full-blown career going forward if you choose to, and it's worth getting educated for it. Or dip in and out. There may be ways to make these, as you said, volunteer opportunities or part-time. But the one that struck me of all of the 5 jobs I mentioned in this piece are mental health coach, mental health therapist, because coming out of the pandemic, this is something that's quite apparent that we have some issues here. And it's worth exploring. There's a wide range of job descriptions and positions within that realm, but that's where there's some big opportunities there. And I also love massage therapist because that's a great one for do-it-yourselfers. You can hang your shingle and have people come into your own home for that.
Yeah, and when you talk about maybe this quarantining that we've all been doing, this home and personal care aid. So much of, I think we learned a lot during the pandemic. We are using more telehealth, but having someone that can come in and help you. And I'm not talking about assisted living in particular, but I'm saying, someone who can, give care or, maybe go shopping or provide some nutrition instructions, et cetera, to people. That seems like a really important job as well, job function.
I think it's really important. And nutrition dietitian is another category that's growing, of course, within this realm of healthcare, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. LinkedIn also did a great look at these jobs and identified postings on their site that are really, really hot right now. And men in these, I talked to Andrew Seaman there, who's terrific, and he outlined some of those for me as well that I incorporate in this article. But the personal home health care, if you look at President Biden's plan for infrastructure, let's hope that some of this gets through, because these jobs need to really pay more and really reflect the value that they bring to the individuals.
Yeah, and I want to come back to the mental health piece for a bit. I agree with you on everything you said, Carrie. I'm not washing that away. But the mental health aspect, I think mental health is something still underappreciated, how important it is that you have mental health, whether you are mature or young. We've seen it impact student-age children, college-age children, as well as older adults. This is really, our mental health. If you don't have good mental health, so goes your brain, so goes everything else. I mean, this is really important. So having someone who can be a liaison and liaise with medical staff on your mental condition and help you and maybe get you to think about things a little bit differently, that seems like a really, really important vocation given what we just experienced.
I think it's incredibly meaningful, and it impacts so many people. It's not just the individual. It radiates out beyond the individual. So it's very important work. And I'd encourage anyone to check out my story in the New York Times. It really outlines some of the different job categories within that overall industry.
And the other one I just wanted to touch on is respiratory therapists.
Yeah.
I think going through the COVID pandemic and obviously people having some respiratory, some heart problems, that cardiovascular system, we've talked about it with Dr. Michael Blaha, a cardiologist from Johns Hopkins Medicine, important as we age to maintain that cardiovascular health through exercise. But again, this is something that, we're living longer, but things do break down. The plumbing does need to be replaced from time to time. This seems like a really important job as well.
Again, it ties into the longevity, into the aging population globally. And these are issues, as people live longer, there's going to be increased need for people who can handle this. And, pneumonia is one of those things that before COVID is something that older adults can be susceptible to and can be very dangerous. So it's really important to have individuals who are skilled and trained and can deal with this.
Yeah, and just for people out there who maybe are not mature, maybe they're younger, these are things you need to think about now. Take the steps, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, but these are things that you can learn from previous generations about what to do, what not to do, so that you have a longer life, a better life, a more productive life, maybe not set back by some ailments that myself and others of other generations get. So, Carrie, great work as always. Always a pleasure to see you. And by the way, it's a pleasure to meet Ellie. I always say that we need to do a show on pets, owning pets, and the impact they have on our lives. Carrie, we're going to leave it there. Great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye.
We look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you, Jeff.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, then drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, and of course, our website. We're back again tomorrow for BRN Weekly. That's our weekly show where we have a very special guest and we take a look at some of our best segments for the week. So until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.